It was 4th of July, and Jake Odorizzi returned to the mound, and there was a lot of fireworks at the beginning of the game, but unfortunately, it was for the Royals, who kind of hit Odorizzi around. He was a little bit off, to say the least. It looked kind of more like the first three starts for Jake Odorizzi, but unfortunately for the Astros, the bullpen kind of held the Royals at bay, and the Astros kind of chipped away until Yordan Alvarez did what he did. And we'll talk about this and more on this edition of the Locked On Astros podcast that starts now.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on Twitter at Eric Talks Astros. Find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. And my co-host, Brett, he's taking a week off. I've taken a week off, or a little bit more, but he's taking a week off to have a little R&R, spend some time with the family. But I hope he got to spend some time with the family as well. And speaking of family, what happened in Highland Park yesterday at a 4th of July parade, that was just crazy to think about. Just people just sitting there watching, getting ready for a parade, just watching the parade, and then somebody to do what happened. And so prayers to the family, prayers to everything that happened there. But I just want to go ahead and take a moment of silence for the lives that were lost yesterday and those that were injured in that senseless act of violence. All right. Today's episode is brought to you by Blue Nile. Make your moment sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com. And Locked On Sports listeners get $50 off purchases of $500 or more. This podcast exclusive includes engagement or just regular jewelry. Use the code Locked On at checkout. And guys, thank you for making Locked On podcast, the Locked On Astros podcast, your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, just go make sure you subscribe to us. All you have to do is just go YouTube, just check the Locked On Astros, and just hit the subscribe button. Give us a like while you're there, and just go ahead and make us your first listen on your way to work, on your way home from work. Whatever you're doing, just make us your first listen every day. And I apologize for not having a show yesterday, but I was out on a rooftop watching some fireworks and just hanging out with some friends and everything last night. And I got home at 1:00 and I'm like, yeah, I'm too tired to do shows. So, but that was an awesome victory last night. And I'm not going to lie and say I thought the Astros had it in them, because Odorizzi gave up the 5 runs early, and then you had Matan give up the run late in the game. So I really had no idea that the Astros would mount that comeback. But with this team, are you really that surprised? Are you really that surprised that the Astros had this in them? So I'm not really going to doubt this team anymore, even when they're down 6 runs. This was the biggest comeback of the season. I think the previous biggest comeback was 3 runs earlier in the season. So I think this team is just remarkable. But Jake Odorizzi made his first start in 77 weeks. I think 42 games since he had the tendon issues. And what really got him was the 36 pitch first inning, where the Royals went all game 4 of the 2015 ALCS and just single. I think it was walk, single. And it was just like, man, this is deja vu all over again. And then you had that 2-run single. And it's just like, man, that's what the Astros sometimes cannot do. Just get that big single in that situation. They sometimes go for the home run ball, and they can't get those runners in from second and third base. But the Royals were able to do that. So Jake Odorizzi threw 36 pitches in the first inning. And so overall, he threw 4 innings, 9 hits, 5 runs, 5 earned runs, 1 walk, 3 K, 90 pitches overall, 58 were strikes. So it's not like the velocity was still good. I was looking at Baseball Savant and looking at his velocity right at the end, pitch 89, he threw 93 mile per hour fastball. He was sitting around 90, 91, 92 throughout the game. He 90 mostly, but his velocity is still there. What he said after the game was his just mechanics is not there. It feels like the first 3 games of the season, and he actually complimented Corey Lee. He said Corey Lee did a great job. Just kind of, he felt like he did a good job kind of coordinating out there. And that's something I was a little bit worried about because remember early in the season, it just seemed like he did really, he preferred a certain catcher. And so for Corey Lee to go out there and do a good job with him, that really meant a lot. And so Odorizzi said that not a whole lot of good today, just a lot of eerie, similar things to the first couple starts I had this year. Direction was crap. Opening up my lower half, try and compensate for over rotating in my upper half. And so just remember, he allowed 9 earned run across the first 9 innings in his first 3 outings. Then he only allowed 2 runs in the next 22 and 2/3 frames that followed. So what Odorizzi says, we go uphill from here. So we'll see what happens from here. But just remember, Seth Martinez has done great this year. And a lot of people were saying, well, Seth Martinez needs to go down. Well, no, Seth Martinez is one of the Astros' best relievers. He pitched 3 innings. He is their lone reliever right now. He pitched 3 innings of shutout ball. He only allowed 1 hit. He allowed 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. This guy had 1 bad appearance in Yankee Stadium, I believe it was, and his ERA on the season is 0.83. I think only Stanek has a lower ERA than him, but Seth Martinez has been doing great this year. Matan gave up a home run to what is it, JP or something? Melendez. What is it? MJ Melendez, so who had 2 home runs on the game. I know that Odorizzi gave up a home run to Melendez earlier in game 2. So, but overall, going back to Odorizzi for a second, he didn't allow a lot of. It was mostly soft contact, a lot of singles and stuff. And ironically, the 2 RBIs came from a single. So that was kind of weird. So 4 RBIs total came from singles. So that was kind of weird. Then you had the home run, but still, that's 4 RBIs from 2 singles. So that's just something you don't see a lot. Then you had that home run, but still, you got behind early 5-0. So, but the Astros bullpen outside of Phil Maton giving up the home run. Stanek came in and does what he does. His ERA is at 0.67. So the Astros just did what they did, and we'll talk about what Alvarez did in second, and we'll talk about Alvarez winning something. But this team is just awesome, and there's just not enough to say about him. So Corey Lee made his debut. We'll talk about that in a second. But you know what? If you need something for that special someone in your life, I know there's not any special holidays coming up, and my parents just said that. My mom was like, that Parents' Day is coming up on the 24th. I'm like, I've never even heard of Parents' Day. Well, apparently Parents' Day is coming up, but BlueNile.com is a great place to get something for that special person in your life, whether it's a girlfriend or maybe a wife or just significant other, however you want to do. If it's an engagement ring or maybe just fine jewelry you just want to give her just to say, hey, I care about you, whatever it is, just Blue Nile has these simple online tools that let you choose the diamond for your engagement ring, as well the style, and just whatever you want to find that perfect ring for her. Or if you just want to get the fine jewelry, but you have a hard time choosing, Blue Nile has the jewelry experts on hand 24/7. You can call via phone just to find that gift that you want. And so make your moment sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com, and Locked On Sports listeners get $50 off purchases of $500 or more. This podcast exclusive includes engagement. So use the code Locked On. That's code is Locked On. Plus, every order is insured and ships for free, and arrives in a discreet package that won't give away what's inside. Shop stress-free and find your forever peace. Go to BlueNile.com today. Blue Nile Blue Nile is the original online jeweler since 1999. They've helped millions of couples create their perfect engagement ring, and they could do so for you as well. So find a peace of mind and get that right piece for you, and tell them that Locked On Sports sent you, and Locked On Astros is the best place to do it. And make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube, and listen to us and make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. You can do that as well. So let's go ahead and talk about what Corey Lee. So I know Corey Lee's family was in town, and they actually Julia Morales went down there to talk to him and everything, and that was a pretty cool moment. But Corey Lee did get a walk in the game, and he looked pretty cool. And you can probably see my 4th of July hat, and I actually was wearing a 4th of July hat last night, but I didn't think I should wear it for the show. It would be hard for me to get it around my headphones, um, but Corey Lee was wearing the cool little catcher's out. Gear with 4th of July stuff, but Corey Lee made his starting debut, so that was pretty cool and a cool experience for him, and he was catching a pretty cool, good veteran. So he got one walk, but he's still hitless in his career. He has OPS of 200, but that's going to change. And I know that a lot of people are saying that he's looking pretty good. So we'll see what happens from there. But Pena is still batting second, and Bregman came back. And you know what Dusty Baker did? He let Alvarez hit third. So you know what he's doing? He's saying, okay, Alvarez, you are my best hitter. So I'm going to keep you hitting third. Bregman is back in the lineup, so he's hitting fourth now. Then you have Tucker hitting fifth, and then Gurriel hitting sixth. So I think that we're kind of going away from Alvarez being the cleanup guy, and at least for now, I mean, we'll see. Dusty Baker kind of does what Dusty Baker does, but this may be something that he's going to try for a little bit. We saw him experiment with for a while there. We saw him. Oh yeah, we don't like having lefty. Lefty, but then we're like, okay, let's go and put Alvarez and Tucker back to back. Now that Bregman's starting to hit a little bit, they're like, okay, well, let's go ahead and put Alvarez and Bregman there. And so we'll see what happens. But you know what's happening now? Who's batting behind Jeremy Pena? Alvarez. So what the pitchers are having to do now is they're having to definitely pitch to Jeremy Pena, and that's going to help him because he's going to see better pitches, and we saw that in the game before. And this is actually the first time in Astros history that they've had back-to-back walk-off home runs. And the game before, it was Jeremy Pena. Today, or not today, but yesterday, it was Yordan Alvarez. So this is awesome. And it's happened 3 times this year. 2 of them, it was Jeremy Pena. Last night, yesterday, it was Alvarez. And this was the first walk-off home run in Alvarez's career. And you have to think about all the home runs he's hit in his young career, and you have to be like, really? That's his first walk-off home run? Seriously? And Alvarez said that his game-winning home run is special for him. He said, yeah, definitely. That's my first walk-off in the major leagues. Obviously, being able to pull this one out is very special. And Dusty Baker on Yordan, he said, yep, Yordan did his thing. Boy, that was great. 2 walk-off 2 days in a row. The fans are getting their money's worth. Makes for a happy 4th of July. And they asked him, everybody wants to know about we know that Alvarez was named the player of the month before I talk about the other thing. But he was named the player of the month for June. He led the AL with batting average with 418, on base percentage with 510, slugging percentage with 835, and OPS with 1345. And also, he's leading the majors in OPS with 1063, slugging percentage with 653. He also ranks second with home runs and with 24, behind Aaron Judge with 29, and also third with on base percentage with 410. And he also becomes he's also the fifth player in AL NL history to have 84 histories in his 84 histories. What am I saying? 84 home runs in his first 299 games. So now he has his first walk-off home run. So this guy is just doing it all. And now he's also become a finalist because he's the leading vote getter for the DH spot. So with Shohei Ohtani out there, he is getting a lot of votes for the DH for the All-Star game. So a lot of people are asking him, hey, Alvarez, hey, Yordan, are you going to participate in the home run derby? Because people want to see you hit home runs because that's what you do. And so this is what he had to say. Or actually, well, it's not really a quote, but he said he has not. So I think that he's kind of deciding that because, I mean, yeah, I guess in batting practice, you can hit home runs left and right, but we've seen people in the past, like Bobby Abreu. I don't know if you remember this, but he participated in a home run derby, and I don't remember if he won the home run derby or not, but he couldn't hit it. He struggled hitting home runs for the rest of the season, and it kind of adjusts. You adjust your swing, and you kind of get out of your rhythm to hit home runs in a home run derby. So I don't think Alvarez will have problems because I've seen him at batting practice and he can mash it. And I think he uses the batting practice just kind of practice hitting it to left field and hitting it to right field and hitting it to all the different directions and hitting it to center. I think he just uses it as a way to just kind of work on aiming the ball. But I think that at the end of the day, especially if Aaron Judge enters, I think he's gonna be like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. So we'll see what happens. But this is what Alvarez had to say about, and this is what I love about the Astros team is they're so smart. They know, like before the day before, Jeremy Pena said that, well, I knew that the pitchers that Ryan Tepera knew that Alvarez was on deck, so he was going to give me a good pitch. So this is what Alvarez says. I knew when the reliever fell behind in count, I knew he was going to throw me a comfortable pitch there. I just tried to focus and see a pitcher in the zone, but the ball came back in the middle plate, and I was just able to hit it. So this team has a lot of smart hitters on it, um, and I think if you're looking at what Penny is doing, Carlos Correa was a great player, but the Astros were able to extend Alvarez for $115 million for 6 years. Could they have done that if they threw all that money at Carlos Correa? Could they have really done that? Could they have potentially signed that money, given that money to Kyle Tucker down the road? Could they have given that money to player X down the road if they did that for Carlos Correa? So the Astros know what they're doing. They know who to extend and who to say, all right, thanks for your service. It's time to let you go. So that's what I think that's what they're doing here. So definitely the Astros teams are starting to recognize, people around baseball are starting to recognize. I saw some Yankees fans saying yesterday, okay, I think this Astros team is pretty legit. And the MLB Power Rankings right now, the Yankees are number one. They are 58-22. The Astros are number 2, 52-27. The Dodgers are number 3, 50-29. The Mets are number 4, 50-30. And then you have the Padres, number 5, 47-35. By the way, it's really good to see the Padres back to winning. I know last year was kind of a struggle for them, but the Padres are kind of fun to watch. Then you got the Braves, the Red Sox, the Brewers, the Blue Jays, the Cardinals, the Rays, the Twins. I'm just trying to find somebody from the AL West. Is anybody on there? The Giants, the Guardians, the Phillies, the Giants, the White Sox, the Mariners. Oh, 17th. I found them. The Mariners. Is that good being at 17? I don't think so. So the Astros have such a big lead. It's crazy how big the Astros lead is in the AL West, and it's going to continue to grow. And it's just like having all the right parts for your automobile, and nobody can catch up to you because you have a fine-tuned automobile, and it's just crazy. So, by the way, this episode is brought to you by Rock Auto. With the ever-increasing makes and models, it's now impossible for you make for your local chain auto store to stock all the parts you need. Why go to there and say, hey, I need this, but my car is this, and I need this, blah, 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 blah. Why don't you just go onto your computer? Everybody has a computer. If you don't, I'm sure your kids have a school computer you can use, and just go on your smartphone and save time and money when using Rock Auto. Why choose to spend 30, 50%, or even 100% more for the same parts at a chain store or even car dealership? For example, a Honda Odyssey fuel pump is $353 from chain store. It's $216 from Rock Auto. Rock Auto is a family business serving do-it-yourselfers for over 20 years. Rock Auto is a family business serving, oops, I already said that. RockAuto.com is reliably low for every customer. Go explore their easy-to-use website today and find a solution for your auto part needs. Go to rockauto.com right now and see all the parts available for your car or truck. Right, locked on in there. How'd you hear about this box? So they know that we sent you. Amazing selection, reliability, low prices, all the parts you'll ever need. RockAuto.com. All right. So let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of the game. I just love how I'm looking at all the innings. So you had the Royals score 2 runs in the first, 2 runs in the second, 1 run in third, and then then the Astros got 1 run in the fourth, 1 run in the fifth. So at that point it's 5-2, and I remember being at a friend's house, and I'm like, okay, 5-2, maybe we still got a chance. Then the Astros scored 1 run in the seventh. It's like 5-3. Okay, maybe we got a chance here. And then they scored the 3 runs in the eighth inning. I'm like, tie game, yes, tie game here. So then in the ninth inning, you had Alvarez come up with 2 outs, and it was an awesome situation. But the Astros were able to score 5 runs in the last 3 innings to win this game. Not too many teams have the ability to do this, but this offense does. That's the crazy thing. And I wanted to look at all the stats. If you're looking at the home runs, the Astros still rank they're tied with the Brewers for third in baseball with 114 home runs. But if you're looking at runs overall, they've come up a little bit. Remember a few weeks ago, Brett and I did this. They're at like 17th or something. They're at 14th with 350 runs. The Yankees have scored 403 runs. So they're still not scoring a lot of runs, but they're still scoring enough runs to get it done. How are they doing it? They're doing it with their pitching. They have the second best ERA in baseball with a 2.93 ERA. They've done that in 692 innings and 2/3 innings, I guess. They have 693 strikeouts. So what are the Yankees doing right? They have the best ERA. They have scored the most runs. They have hit the most home runs. The Yankees are a complete team, but for some reason, the Astros have been able to compete with them. So the Astros are I love seeing all the memes, and it's not just from Astros fans. It's from Yankees fans. Yankees fans are saying that the Astros are their boogeyman, or they're the Yankees daddies or something. And it's not just about this year, all the years that they've knocked them out of playoffs and everything. But we'll see what happens this year, because there's still a lot of baseball to be played. But these two teams are destined to meet in the ALCS. And so with July 31st approaching, we're going to have a lot of interesting trade talk, because this is going to be probably a very intense trade deadline, because do the Astros make a trade or do they not? Who knows? Uh, Jake Odorizzi didn't look good, but what happens next time when he throws 6 innings, only allows 1 run, strikes out 6 batters? Who knows? Jake Odorizzi, he takes a little bit to get in form. That's just who he is. And so we'll see what happens. And then you have Lance McCullers coming back. So are you really going to need to trade for another starter? I mean, I know I joked with Brett the other day and said you can't have enough depth, but still, do you really need that many starters? Who knows? But definitely this is something to kind of keep in mind as this goes. But this is the first time. Oh, actually, I take it back. Earlier in the game, I said that this is the first time in Astros history that they've won back-to-back games with walk-off home runs. I take that back. This is the first time that they've done it since 2007. They did it against the Colorado Rockies. Mark Loretta and Carlos Lee hit it on June 28th and June 29th. And it was Mark Loretta and Carlos Lee. I'm sure y'all both remember Mark Loretta playing for the Houston Astros. I'm sure some of y'all do. But one of the plays I do want to remind y'all about is Martin Maldonado once again showing why the Astros are paying him the money they're paying him. That throw when he throws a runner out trying to steal a base. It was the 9th inning with tie game with 2 outs. And it was a great play. And it just shows how valuable he is. No, he's not always going to hit 2 home runs in a game. No, he's not always going to get 3 hits in a game. No, he's not always going to get a hit or get on base or anything like that. But he's going to do what he does. He's going to call a great game. He's going to do what he does. And it's just awesome to see. So great play there. And it's just Jake Odorizzi. I'm not too worried about him. I think he's going to be fine. It may take him a few appearances for him to kind of get comfortable, maybe get his whole body in sync. Just remember that he's coming off the tendon injury, and he only did 2 rehab appearances. But for him to get up to 90 pitches, that was pretty good, because he did get up to 78 pitches in his final rehab start. And so I guess that's not that big a jump. And like I said in the podcast before, Enoli Paredes was optioned down to AAA. That just was obvious, and so it's not a big deal there. So, but if you're looking at today's game, it is going to be a 7:10 first pitch, and we're going to have our old friend Zach Greinke on the mound. He's 2-4 this season with a 4.38 ERA. And he has 32 strikeouts on the season, facing Luis Garcia, who's 6-5 with a 3.54 ERA with 80 Ks. So this is going to be an interesting matchup. We're going to hear the old every time Greinke pitches, and maybe he'll have some manner. No, I think his kind of weird antics is when he's not pitching, but I kind of miss having Zach Greinke around, his comments after the game and all that. So I'm sure we're going to see some comments after today's game, especially if the Astros kind of crush him for like 5 runs. He'll be like, yeah, I didn't pitch good. The Astros are a good team. They beat me around. I played with them last year. Do you remember that? I played with the Astros. They're pretty good. Something like that. So, yeah, I kind of miss having him around. So, if you're looking at the players that have had success against Luis Garcia, it's Nicky Lopez with 1 home run, batting .500. And Whit Merrifield is batting .375. with no home runs, and that's about it. Cam Gallagher has 1 at bat, so he's batting 1,000. He got a hit. But other than that, everybody's batting 250 or below. I guess Andrew Benintendi is batting 250. So the Astros who've had success against Zach Greinke is Jose Altuve, who's batting 385 with 1 home run and 4 RBIs. And Aledmys Diaz is batting 333 and 6 at bats. But other than that, not too many people have had a lot of at bats against him. Alex Bregman's 167, Yuli Gurriel 222, and then Mauricio Dubon is 0 for 3 against him in his career. So this is going to be a kind of interesting game to watch today, just to see how the Astros kind of use yesterday's momentum. I mean, they're already on momentum, but Luis Garcia needs to – the Astros rotation was on fire. Garcia needs to kind of take the bull by the horn and just get back out there and just keep the good times rolling, because Jake Odorizzi kind of just messed with the flow of the rotation. And so Garcia just needs to kind of get that back and get that back in the flow of things. So that's just Odorizzi. Hopefully that was just a weird thing, because everybody's like yesterday on Twitter, they're like, "Oh, thank you, Dusty. We're all expecting we bought tickets to watch Justin Verlander pitch, and then you give us Jake Odorizzi, and he gives us 5 runs. Thank you, Dusty." But I'm pretty sure y'all enjoyed that game, didn't you? With the Alvarez walk-off home run, unless y'all left the game early, and then you're probably kicking yourself, fever pitch style, right? Anyway, that's all we got for this edition of the Locked On Astros podcast. I hope you had a great 4th of July. My name is Eric Huysman. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. Make sure you make us your first listen every day, and we will be back. I'll be back tonight with another edition of the Locked On Astros podcast, and go Stros.